I start talking about Ash Wednesday, I'd like to remind us all, myself included, of the old saying that there is no future without a past. And I always feel that it's very meaningful for Tiwi people. Don't forget the past. You had many, many things that were good. Many, many things in your dance, in your song, in the way of life. So don't forget the past, because there is no future without a past. The Tiwi people have 3 important ceremonies. 2 of these ceremonies are still done. The 3rd one is forgotten. As we enter tomorrow into Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent, we will concentrate on the Pukamani ceremony, the ceremony for the dead, because the ceremony for the dead is most important to all Tiwis. And in the olden days, when there was no modern devices as phones or trucks or boats to get anywhere, they used a man, and he was called the messenger, and he carried a message stick. And on the message stick was a route to follow to find out where that dead man or dead woman was. They had 3 sticks. One was to ask for favours. One was to ask to come and join a ceremony. But the 3rd one that we are talking about today was the stick that told us of the death of a person. And here, many years ago in the school, we carried that stick on Ash Wednesday because we were going to go to the greatest ceremony of all, the ceremony of the death of Jesus. So in those olden days, the messenger carried the stick. He painted himself white because he didn't want to be seen. He was bringing bad news. He carried in his hand the message stick. He wore around his neck the goose feather ball to show sorrow, and after he spoke, he placed the goose feather ball into his mouth. He used the pamajini, the armband, on one arm. They knew that there was meaning, there was death. And on the other arm, he used a cane armband. The cane armband is no longer used in ceremony. When he got to the place of destination, he would cry loudly, and the people would understand that he brought bad news. Now, in the olden times, they cut themselves. They drew blood. They were truly sorry for the death of that person. They hit themselves. They hit themselves hard. But all that has changed, and we're moved into the modern way of burying people. And I feel very sad that those old days have gone. I do believe that your Pukamani ceremony for the Tiwi is still intact because of the dance that you do after the Mass. It is beautiful to think, the thing you think of when a person dies is to have a Mass for that person. Now that person is no longer with us. The body is there, but the spirit has gone. The Yaminga has gone. It's gone to God, and it has been judged by God. And when we go to Mass, we must remember that we have a body. We do not have the spirit of that person. But we farewell that person with dance and tears, and it's a beautiful thing. And I hope and pray that the Pukamani ceremony will stay forever, because it is your greatest ceremony. Then comes your yam ceremony, Kalama, which you do every April. Now, when I came here many years ago, Kalama ceremony was done down at Marley Point. The men doing the Kalama ceremony did not leave that spot for 3 days. They went the first day and got the yam from the bush, a special yam. They built a fireplace. They put the twigs in and they placed the yam on top of the twigs. Then they would sit around, and the women would sit around behind them, and the women would echo what the men were singing. The first night they would name all the newborn baby boys. They would name anything that had happened around the camp, anything new that had come onto the island. They would sing about it, and the women would echo. It was beautiful to listen to. Night time came and everybody slept at that spot. Morning came on the second day and they started their singing, and they sang about the girls born during the past year. Then they told stories about what had happened over the year. The women echoed it, beautiful. Then the third day, a fire was lit. The yam was cooked. They ate the yam, but they sat around that fire until it became ashes. When the ashes cooled down, the leader of the yam ceremony would take the ashes in his hand and he would throw them north, south, east and west, asking a blessing upon the people from all those destinations. The yam ceremony has changed, but please God, one day it will come back to what it was originally, a beautiful sacred ceremony. The girls' ceremony, I can't pronounce it in Tiwi. I have seen once only in my time here, and I wish that ceremony would come back, because it's very meaningful for the young girl who's going to grow up, enter into a partnership with somebody, have children, and they have learned from their maternal grandmother what it means to be a mother. My one last wish as I get near to the time for my own Pukamani ceremony is that people would consider bringing the girls' ceremony back, because it is needed here. So we have 3 great ceremonies. We have a great, a great gift for Ash Wednesday, because we can do it in our own way. We don't paint our bodies anymore to show sorrow, but we place the ashes on our head. Remember, man, that thou art dust, and back to dust you shall return. And for the children, we've got your song for Lent. Jesus went to a desert place. The devil came and spat in his face. Jesus, he didn't pay back. He looked at the rock, but then he sat. Sometimes we make trouble and fight. Take trouble home as we hop on our bike. But during Lent, we're going to stay and walk with Jesus on the purple way. Please God, we will have a good Lent, a prayerful Lent, and we'll be all as the Pukamani ceremony, the greatest ceremony of all, the death of Jesus on the cross. Of the old saying that there is no future without a past. And I always feel that it's very meaningful for Tiwi people. Don't forget the past. You had many, many things that were good. Many, many things in your dance, in your song, in the way of life. So don't forget the past, because there is no future without a past.
Gare